Hey guys, this is probably going to be a pretty rambly video, but I wanted to show you guys what I've been working on lately because I'm really happy with kind of what I've came up with here for knife designs as of late and how I've been executing them. I don't know, I'm curious what everyone else thinks who's maybe going to watch this. So here's basically it. This is what I'd call like a standard belt knife, utility knife, purpose sized knife. It's 4.5 inches. All of these are about that, between 4 and 5 inches. Handle is comfortable, long for me. I have fairly small hands, but I got two things here kind of, and a few different steel options and stuff like that. And this is kind of what I want to make. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but like I do commission work and I make almost anything, but this is stuff that I'm really happy with and I recommend to people that I'm comfortable making. I've made it lots before and I think it'll serve most people quite well. So this also comes into so let's just start here. This one is one I'm making for somebody right now. This is a W2 blade. The steel is W2. And what's nice about W2, it's a very, very high carbon steel, like 1095 or higher levels of carbon. And holds its edge really well, very durable if it's heat treated with a differential heat treatment, like this one is. You can see the line here in this case where it's soft here, harder here. I was actually aiming to have that come in kind of like this. It didn't happen. They have a mind of their own. That's what they do. But it still looks beautiful. And when you differentially harden W2, it makes a very durable knife. It also hardens quite hard, so it holds its edge quite well too. This is hardened to about a 60 Rockwell. This one is an 80 CRV2 knife. Also forged. I leave the forged finish on my forged knives. This one, I don't see the benefit of bringing 80 CRV2 to that high of a polish. It doesn't really take Hamones well, but it's a good, super durable steel. As you know, I'm a fan of Winkler knives. This is the same steel Winkler uses. It's proven. It's great steel. I've had great success with it as well, with people who have got it from me. And in my own personal use of the steel, I have never had an issue with this steel either. Awesome stuff. And I just bring it to a 600 grit satin finish, hand sanded. Like I said, forged finish left on. These are full Tang, skeletonized, because otherwise it'd be pretty heavy. Also tapered, also to reduce weight. Now these two are in Magna Cut, and I'm going to offer Magna Cut. Well, like I said, I do commission work. I'll make you what you want. But this is stuff that I want to kind of have at the ready. And like I said, I like these designs and I recommend them to people. These two are in Magna Cut. Obviously, I could do this in W2. I could do this in 80 CRV2. This shape I could do in Magna Cut. But it wouldn't have the forged finishes because you cannot forge Magna Cut in a forge. This stuff is way too high tech for that. So you're getting either a satin finish like this on the machine, because another thing about Magna Cut is you can't touch this stuff with, at least any hand sandpaper I can find and I have access to, doesn't touch this stuff. So you're gonna get still a really nice finish, but it's a machine finish. On my belt sander, I have a Scotch-Brite belt. It's about 600 grit. Will look like this. And obviously the tangs on all of these aren't finished. They're gonna have a handle on them. I'm gonna get to that. Or I'm gonna do the same thing. I've had great success. I'll probably put a picture in the video here somehow, YouTube magic. But I also do the Magna Cut thing with a deep ferric chloride etch that's stonewashed. Looks super cool. I prefer that look personally over this finish. That's what both of these are going to become. They're at that stage. That's the next step. But my favorite of all, obviously, for looks, I like the forged stuff. I love leaving forged finish on stuff. Personally, I love W2. I think this stuff with the differential heat treatment looks gorgeous. Damascus isn't something that's really feasible for me to make right now. I don't have a ton of heavy equipment. I want to do it, it's not feasible. I've recently got some wrought iron too, so I can do sand mines and stuff with wrought iron. I want to experiment with that. And I've gotten some 1080 hex stock too. So I want to experiment with making some integral knives. I usually just get flat stock, so I've never really been able to experiment with integrals much, but I would probably do my integral in a similar shape to this. I really like this shape. I like this shape too. This is also clearly expired, as you can tell I'm a fan. Clearly inspired by the Winkler belt knife. This is more of a drop point shape. His is more of a clip classic buoy shape. Otherwise very similar. Jimping was inspired. I also left 45-degree spine part up here so that you can strike. This part I'm kind of gonna bevel, taper to 2. So yeah, clearly inspired by that, but it is, like, I drew it up. I've never even held a Winkler belt knife in my hand. I just always liked them in pictures and stuff, so naturally something I made kind of looks like it, but obviously I had to make it my own too. So I did, I like a drop point shape on this personally. I really like the looks of this, and it seems to be functional. I've used it lots and had other people be happy with it as well, but personally these two are my favorites. I love this design. It's obviously, though, what worries some people about this design instead of this one's full tang, and everyone likes a full tang knife, right? It's the strongest thing you can get, obviously. But I'd make the argument that if you do your hidden tang knife right, it's functionally just as strong as this. Is a hidden tang knife technically as strong as a full tang knife? No, it's not. Especially if we didn't skeletonize it, but that'd be a very heavy knife that isn't all that comfortable or nice to carry. So a hidden tang knife, practically, and what I mean by that is in anything that you're gonna do with this knife, this is just as strong as this, even if this didn't have the skeletonizing. Both of them are very strong. You're never gonna break the damn thing. Except for maybe at the tip, prying really hard on something that you shouldn't be, I don't know. But I do tip tests when I'm at the stages before this, I tip test. I stick it in something and check it. Now I don't slam it down an inch in, but I make sure you could do a little bit of wiggling. And won't ship it out if it cracked. Like if it cracked, I'm gonna fix it. I check it, but that brings me to another thing, actually. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I love this design, and the handle is a canvas. I could do with this one. I'm gonna do a guard. I'll show you if you want to see what these look like when they're done. I'm probably gonna make a short on it. Same with these. I'll show you guys them. But with a hidden tang knife, the handle is kind of a canvas. You're able to do a lot more with the handle of a hidden tang knife. And it's also warmer in your hand if you're in a cold environment. When you grab the thing, you don't have steel in your hand. So that's always nice. And like I said, functionally just as strong when done properly. And how you tell, you can't really once it's finished, but you need to have a rounding. First of all, you don't want to take too much down. You don't want it to bring it down all the way to here. Way down in, that will be weaker. But also, it needs to be rounded. Right in here. Where it comes down and back in. If that's rounded, it won't break, and it keep your tang rough for the glue. If you build it right and you slowly reduce it toward the tip or toward the end of the handle, and it's still really thick up here, and you've rounded your edge, it's not gonna break. Just like these. These knives also scale up and down in size well if you want one smaller or bigger. I mean, I have this one that I've carried for, probably 3 years at this point. Kind of a scaled down version of this. And then also you can scale it up. This is an earlier knife I made. It leaves a lot of work. You can tell it's an early one, but I'm still proud of it for at the time. But clearly I can do better now. But yeah, same basic design, scales up and down very well. And you can do whatever you want with the handle. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video showing off what I've been making lately, and I really think they're nice. It's a cool design, I like it. It's very functional, I've never had any complaints with it. And just kind of show what I'm offering for steels. Right now I'm loving the W2. I love the 80 CRV2. If you want some, doesn't take quite as much handwork, it's a little bit, I can get it out a bit cheaper. This stuff's expensive. This stuff's also expensive because I have to send it out to heat treat. I don't have the equipment. And it's the latest and greatest steel. It's just plain old expensive. So yeah, there's a lot of cost involved in this. This steel costs about as much as this steel. This one's cheaper. I can get this knife out, I'm selling for 400 Canadian. This one, about 600 Canadian. These two I'm thinking I'm gonna sell for about 400 Canadian. And these two are available. Like I said, they're gonna be stonewashed. So if you're interested in these two finished up, once they're finished up, I'll make a video on them. Also, I had some people mention that they would be actually interested in these things. And I've made a couple people of one already, and so far, they seem to work good. Haven't had any issues with them. These little combat flathead screwdrivers that I made. Kind of just a forged chunk of 5160. Works great. I've used it a lot in carpentry. I mean, whatever you need a flat, sharpened somewhat bar for, it works. I also made this recently, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, if your wife wants something, or you happen to have long hair yourself, it's a hairpin. And you can tie it up with in your hair just like a chopstick, or whatever, like anything, you use the same method. And it's got a ring on it, all forged 5160, hardened, just like this is. They're both hardened just like knives are. So it's got a ring for your finger, so you can spin it around and stuff. I think it looks okay in your hair. You don't notice it. And yeah, it's a little spike. So that's another thing I'm kind of curious if people would be interested in. I don't know. I've had people curious about this. So I'm curious if people are curious about this. Obviously, you can carry it however the hell you want. You don't need to stick it in your hair. Curious if people like these, and I'm curious if people like these, especially because I really like these. Like I said, scale is up and down. And also, I'm curious if people would be interested in something like this. I've had a couple people already. I've sold one of these to someone, and I modified it a bit. I made the spike longer, and he didn't want the handle quite as carved up, so I didn't quite make it as fancy. But yeah, I've been really happy with that thing too. So my little combat axe design. So yeah, this is what I've been working on lately, and I'm curious what everyone thinks about it, and if anybody actually friggin' wants it. Alright, see you guys next time. As I finish up these guys, I'll show you them. See you in the next one.